David Cooper stood at the window of the United Nations Emergency Command Center, his eyes fixed on the massive alien ships hovering over New York City. The dark vessels blocked out the sun, casting long shadows over the frightened city below. At 52 years old, with gray starting to show in his brown hair, David had spent 30 years planning for war. But not this kind of war. "Sir, the Zixidian transmission is starting again," called out Lisa Martinez from her station. The young weapons researcher's fingers moved quickly across her keyboard, her dark eyes focused on the screen in front of her. The main screen lit up with the alien message. The Zixidian leader, a tall creature with blue-gray skin and multiple eyes, spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, you have 48 hours to surrender your planet. Resist, and we will destroy everything you hold dear." David turned away from the window, his mind racing. During his years in the military, he had learned to spot patterns in enemy behavior. The Zixidians had been watching Earth for months, attacking small targets, testing defenses. But they had made one mistake. Their communication system had a flaw. "Listen to me," David said, walking to the center of the room where world leaders had gathered. "Their ships send signals to each other using a special frequency. If we can block these signals, we might have a chance to fight back." But General Roberts shook his head. "Cooper, you're not military anymore. You're just an advisor. We need real solutions, not theories." Lisa stood up from her station. "Actually, sir, David might be right. My team has been working on a new weapon that could." "Enough," the general cut her off. "We need to focus on evacuation plans and military responses we know will work." David watched in frustration as the room full of leaders argued about what to do. Outside, people filled the streets, some running to get home, others standing in shock, looking up at the alien ships. Hours passed. David worked with Lisa in her lab, trying to prove his theory about the alien communications. She showed him her secret project, a new kind of energy weapon that could potentially pierce alien shields. "If we just had more time," Lisa said, rubbing her tired eyes. "The weapon isn't ready yet, but the theory is solid." Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the building. David rushed to the command center. On the screens, they could see hundreds of smaller alien ships pouring out of the larger vessels. "They're attacking early," someone shouted. "They said we had 48 hours." David grabbed a microphone. "Get Lisa's weapon prototypes out of the lab now. Move everything to the backup facility." But it was too late. The first explosions rocked the city. David watched in horror as the alien ships systematically destroyed military bases, communication centers, and power plants. Earth's missiles and fighters proved useless against the advanced alien shields. Through the chaos, David tried to coordinate with other centers around the world. But one by one, they went dark. London fell, then Moscow, Beijing. Within hours, every major city was under attack. In the lab, Lisa fought to save her research data as the building shook from nearby explosions. David helped her download everything to a portable drive just before a direct hit struck the laboratory wing. "We have to get out of here," David said, pulling Lisa toward the emergency stairs. They could hear screaming and explosions above them. As they reached the underground parking level, David's phone rang one last time. It was his wife, Mary. "David, they're everywhere." The call cut off. David stood frozen, the phone still in his hand. Lisa grabbed his arm. "David, we have to move. We can't help them if we're dead." They escaped in Lisa's car just as the building collapsed behind them. The city was in flames. Alien ships flew overhead, shooting at anything that moved. David looked back at the burning skyline of New York, his heart heavy with loss and anger. "Where do we go?" Lisa asked, driving fast through the chaos. David's face hardened with determination. "The old Ninorady bunker in Colorado. It's deep underground. They might not know about it. We'll gather whoever we can find. This isn't over." As they drove away from the burning city, David made a silent promise. Humanity had lost this battle, but the war was just beginning, and he would make sure the Zixidians regretted ever coming to Earth. In the distance, more alien ships appeared on the horizon, their weapons turning night into day. But in the darkness of defeat, the seeds of resistance were already taking root. Humanity's darkest hour had come, but its greatest strength lay in refusing to give up, even when all hope seemed lost. David Cooper stood at the window of the United Nations Emergency Command Center, his eyes fixed on the massive alien ships hovering over New York City. The dark vessels blocked out the sun, casting long shadows over the frightened city below. At 52 years old, with gray starting to show in his brown hair, David had spent 30 years planning for war. But not this kind of war. "Sir, the Zixidian transmission is starting again," called out Lisa Martinez from her station. The young weapons researcher's fingers moved quickly across her keyboard, her dark eyes focused on the screen in front of her. The main screen lit up with the alien message. The Zixidian leader, a tall creature with blue-gray skin and multiple eyes, spoke in perfect English. "People of Earth, you have 48 hours to surrender your planet. Resist, and we will destroy everything you hold dear." David turned away from the window, his mind racing. During his years in the military, he had learned to spot patterns in enemy behavior. The Zixidians had been watching Earth for months, attacking small targets, testing defenses. But they had made one mistake. Their communication system had a flaw. "Listen to me," David said, walking to the center of the room where world leaders had gathered. "Their ships send signals to each other using a special frequency. If we can block these signals, we might have a chance to fight back." But General Roberts shook his head. "Cooper, you're not military anymore. You're just an advisor. We need real solutions, not theories." Lisa stood up from her station. "Actually, sir, David might be right. My team has been working on a new weapon that could." "Enough," the general cut her off. "We need to focus on evacuation plans and military responses we know will work." David watched in frustration as the room full of leaders argued about what to do. Outside, people filled the streets, some running to get home, others standing in shock, looking up at the alien ships. Hours passed. David worked with Lisa in her lab, trying to prove his theory about the alien communications. She showed him her secret project, a new kind of energy weapon that could potentially pierce alien shields. "If we just had more time," Lisa said, rubbing her tired eyes. "The weapon isn't ready yet, but the theory is solid." Suddenly, alarms started blaring throughout the building. David rushed to the command center. On the screens, they could see hundreds of smaller alien ships pouring out of the larger vessels. "They're attacking early," someone shouted. "They said we had 48 hours." David grabbed a microphone. "Get Lisa's weapon prototypes out of the lab now. Move everything to the backup facility." But it was too late. The first explosions rocked the city. David watched in horror as the alien ships systematically destroyed military bases, communication centers, and power plants. Earth's missiles and fighters proved useless against the advanced alien shields. Through the chaos, David tried to coordinate with other centers around the world. But one by one, they went dark. London fell, then Moscow, Beijing. Within hours, every major city was under attack. In the lab, Lisa fought to save her research data as the building shook from nearby explosions. David helped her download everything to a portable drive just before a direct hit struck the laboratory wing. "We have to get out of here," David said, pulling Lisa toward the emergency stairs. They could hear screaming and explosions above them. As they reached the underground parking level, David's phone rang one last time. It was his wife, Mary. "David, they're everywhere." The call cut off. David stood frozen, the phone still in his hand. Lisa grabbed his arm. "David, we have to move. We can't help them if we're dead." They escaped in Lisa's car just as the building collapsed behind them. The city was in flames. Alien ships flew overhead, shooting at anything that moved. David looked back at the burning skyline of New York, his heart heavy with loss and anger. "Where do we go?" Lisa asked, driving fast through the chaos. David's face hardened with determination. "The old Narration bunker in Colorado. It's deep underground. They might not know about it. We'll gather whoever we can find. This isn't over." As they drove away from the burning city, David made a silent promise. Humanity had lost this battle, but the war was just beginning, and he would make sure the Zixidians regretted ever coming to Earth. In the distance, more alien ships appeared on the horizon, their weapons turning night into day. But in the darkness of defeat, the seeds of resistance were already taking root. Humanity's darkest hour had come, but its greatest strength lay in refusing to give up, even when all hope seemed lost. 6 hours into the attack, David and Lisa reached the outskirts of Pennsylvania. The car's radio only played static. Every phone network was down. The sky had turned an ugly orange color from all the fires burning across the country. "Stop the car," David said suddenly. They pulled over on an empty highway. In the distance, they saw something that made their hearts sink. A massive alien ship was hovering over what used to be Pittsburgh. The entire city was gone. In its place was a giant crater. "They're not just attacking us," Lisa whispered. "They're erasing us." A group of survivors walked along the highway carrying whatever they could save. An old man told them that Philadelphia was completely destroyed. Washington, D.C. was gone too. Every major city they knew about had fallen. "We need to get off the main roads," David said, looking at their nearly empty gas tank. "The aliens are targeting large groups of people." They found an abandoned gas station and managed to fill up their car. Inside the station's store, they found some food and water. While Lisa gathered supplies, David found an old radio that still worked. He turned it on and searched through the channels. "This is an emergency broadcast. All surviving military personnel should head to designated fallback points. Civilian bunkers are located. Static cut off the message." "At least some people are organizing," Lisa said. She was looking at the data drive from her lab, trying to save what she could on her laptop. "David, look at this." She showed him some readings from just before the attack. "The alien shields have a pattern. If we cooled." A loud explosion cut her off. 3 alien fighter ships zoomed overhead, firing at something in the distance. They heard screams. "We need to move. Now." David grabbed their supplies, and they ran back to the car. They drove through back roads, avoiding main highways. Every town they passed was either destroyed or empty. They saw people hiding in forests and farms. Some tried to fight back with regular guns, but their bullets did nothing against the alien ships. Night fell, but the sky stayed bright from fires and alien weapons. They had to stop and hide several times when alien ships passed overhead. During one of these stops, they met John, a police officer who had helped people escape from Buffalo. "The aliens hit the military bases first," John told them. "Then the power plants and communication towers. It was like they knew exactly where to strike. Our jets couldn't even get close to their ships." "They've been planning this for a long time," David said. He told John about their plan to reach the Narration bunker in Colorado. "You'll never make it by car," John said. "The aliens control all the major roads heading west. But I know where you can find a small plane. About 10 miles from here, there's a private airfield. If it hasn't been destroyed yet." They decided to risk it. The airfield was untouched, probably too small for the aliens to care about. They found a small 2-engine plane that still had fuel. "I can fly it," Lisa said. Both David and John looked at her in surprise. "What? I have a pilot's license. Did you think I only worked in labs?" As they loaded their supplies into the plane, they saw more survivors coming out of hiding. A family with 2 small children. An elderly couple. A group of teenagers. "We can't take everyone," Lisa said quietly to David. David looked at the scared faces of the survivors. We have to try. These people are what's left of humanity. They managed to fit 12 people into the small plane. As Lisa started the engines, they saw alien ships in the distance, destroying another town. If we fly low and avoid populated areas, we might make it, Lisa said. The plane took off just as the sun was rising. Below them, the earth looked different now. Whole cities were gone. Forests burned. The land was scared with craters and destruction. David looked at the survivors in the plane. Some were crying quietly. Others stared with empty eyes at the destruction below. But a few, like Lisa, had a look of fierce determination. We're not beaten yet, he said loudly enough for everyone to hear. As long as some of us survive, humanity has a chance, and we're going to make these aliens regret ever coming here. The plane flew west, staying low to avoid detection. Behind them, the sun rose over a changed world. It was the end of everything they knew. But it was also the beginning of humanity's fight for survival. 6 months had passed since the invasion. Deep inside the Narration bunker, David looked at the map on the wall. Small red dots showed where resistance groups were fighting. There weren't many dots, but each one meant humans were still fighting back. David, you need to see this, called Amy Wilson. The young hacker had joined them 2 months ago when her group found the bunker. She had short red hair and always wore a worn leather jacket with dozens of pockets full of computer parts. On her computer screen, strange patterns flashed. I've been watching the aliens' energy use. They're taking something from inside the Earth. Like they're drinking the Earth's energy. Lisa walked over, looking tired but excited. That matches what I found in my new lab. The aliens need massive amounts of power for their ships. She spread out some papers covered in diagrams, and I think I know how to use that against them. The bunker was now home to over 200 survivors. Some were soldiers, but most were regular people learning to fight. In one corner, John was teaching a group how to make bombs from old car parts. In another, doctors treated injured fighters. A radio crackled. Base, this is Scout Team 3. The aliens are building something big near Denver. Looks like some kind of energy collector. David picked up the radio. Can you get closer? We need pictures. Negative. Too many guards. But the radio went silent. Scout 3. Report. David called. Nothing but static answered. Amy typed quickly on her keyboard. I'm picking up alien ships moving in that area. Scout 3 probably had to run. David gathered his team leaders. Besides Lisa and Amy, there was John, who led their attack teams, and Sarah Baker, who managed their food and supplies. We need to know what they're building, David said, but we can't lose more scouts. Any ideas? Amy raised her hand. I've been working on something. Small drones that can fly close to alien buildings without being spotted. They look like birds from far away. How many do you have? David asked. 3 that work. They're not perfect, but... An alarm started beeping on Amy's computer. Energy spike near the surface. She shouted. Everyone ran to the bunker's huge windows. Above ground, the sky turned green. The alien ships were using some new kind of weapon. They're not attacking, Lisa said, looking at her instruments. They're drilling. The energy beam goes deep underground. How long until they hit us? David asked. Lisa checked her readings. At this rate, maybe 2 weeks. David looked at his team. Then we have 2 weeks to stop them. Amy, get your drones ready. John, prepare your best fighters. Lisa, what do you need to finish your new weapon? I need parts from alien technology, Lisa said. Their energy cores would be perfect, but they're impossible to get. John smiled. Nothing's impossible. My team hit an alien supply truck last week. We have alien parts. For the first time in months, David felt real hope. Okay, here's the plan. Amy's drones will watch the alien base. John's team will create a distraction. Lisa, you and your science team will finish the weapon. We have one chance to get this right. Over the next few days, the bunker was busy. Amy's drones flew missions every night, bringing back pictures of the alien facility. Lisa worked non-stop in her lab, testing the alien technology. John trained his fighters using the drone pictures to plan their attack. Finally, after 5 days of planning, they were ready. David stood before the gathered fighters. These people had lost everything. Their homes, their families, their world. But they hadn't lost their courage. Tomorrow, we show these aliens that Earth isn't defeated, he said. We may be hidden underground, but our spirit isn't buried. Every time they think they've won, we'll hit back harder. Every time they destroy something, we'll rebuild it stronger. He looked at each face in the crowd. They thought they could break us. Instead, they made us stronger. Tomorrow, we take the first step toward taking back our planet. The room was quiet for a moment. Then someone started clapping. Soon, everyone joined in. The sound echoed through the bunker like thunder. That night, as David checked the final plans, Lisa came to his office. "The weapon is ready," she said. "If this works, we'll have a real chance against them." David nodded. "Tomorrow, we stop running. Tomorrow, we start fighting back." Outside, the green light from the alien drilling lit up the night sky. But underground, humanity was preparing its first real counterattack. The resistance was ready to show the aliens that hope, once lost, had been replaced by something stronger. The will to fight back. The attack on the alien facility started at dawn. John and his fighters set off explosions on the east side of the alien base. As planned, the alien guards rushed toward the noise. Nobody noticed Amy's small bird-like drones flying overhead. "I'm in their computer system," Amy said, her fingers moving fast across her keyboard. Screens around her showed views from the drones. The aliens don't even protect their networks properly. They think we're too primitive to hack them. David watched the main screen in the bunker's control room. Lisa stood next to him, holding her new weapon. It looked like a normal rifle, but inside it used alien technology. "Wait," Amy said suddenly. "These files. Oh my God." She turned to David, her face pale. "They're not just taking Earth's energy. They're changing the planet, making it more like their world." Lisa looked at the data on Amy's screen. The drilling isn't just for energy. They're putting something into the Earth. Chemicals or machines that will change our air, our water. "How long?" David asked. "At their current rate." Lisa checked the numbers. 6 months before Earth starts becoming unlivable for humans. Maybe a year before it's perfect for them. The radio crackled. "Base, this is John. We got trouble. Big trouble. The aliens brought in some kind of walking machine. It's crushing everything." On Amy's drone feeds, they saw it. A huge metal thing on 4 legs, taller than a building. It walked through the explosions like they were nothing, shooting blue energy beams at anything that moved. "John, get your people out of there," David ordered. "No." Lisa grabbed the radio. "John, I need you to get close to that machine. My weapon might work on it, but I need to know if it uses the same shields as their ships." John's team moved carefully through the chaos. The walking machine turned toward them, its legs crushing cars and buildings. "The shields look the same," John reported, "but we can't get close enough to." "Jake, look out." The radio went silent. On the drone feed, they saw the machine fire at John's team. But something strange happened. The energy beam hit the ground near them and bounced back, hitting the machine's legs. "Did you see that?" Lisa was excited. "The Earth's magnetic field. It's affecting their weapons." Amy typed faster. "The aliens' whole system depends on magnetic energy. That's why they chose Earth. Our planet's magnetic field is perfect for their technology." "But that means," Lisa grabbed her papers, "if we can disrupt the magnetic field in small areas, we can shut down their shields." Amy finished. David looked at the screen showing the battle. John's team was hiding, but more alien machines were coming. Can you use this discovery now? Our people are dying out there. Lisa nodded. She spoke into the radio. John, pull your team back 200 meters. I'm going to try something. She worked quickly, connecting her weapon to Amy's computer. The alien parts we stole. They don't just copy magnetic fields, they can change them. If I reverse the power. The weapon hummed. On the screen, they saw a ripple in the air, like heat waves over hot road. The walking machine stumbled. Its shields flickered and died. John, hit it now, David ordered. Regular human rockets flew at the machine. This time, without its shields, the machine exploded. The aliens seemed confused. They had never seen their technology fail before. Base, it worked. John's voice was happy. The thing just blew up. But we got more coming. We need to get out of here. Fall back, David ordered. We got what we needed. As their fighters retreated, Amy discovered more in the alien files. They didn't expect us to fight back, she said. Look at these reports. They think humans are weak because we care about each other. They don't understand why we try to save people instead of just saving ourselves. David smiled. Then they really don't understand humans at all. Our strength comes from standing together. In the next hour, all their teams made it back to the bunker. They had lost 3 people, but they had learned something important. The aliens weren't invincible. Lisa and Amy worked together, combining what they had learned about magnetic fields with Lisa's weapon design. We can make more of these, Lisa said. Better ones. And now we know how to use them. David looked at the tired but happy faces around him. Today we learned 2 things. We found a way to hurt them, yes. But we also learned why they'll never really win. They think caring about each other makes us weak. But it's what makes us strong enough to keep fighting. The aliens might be changing Earth, but they had made one big mistake. They had given humanity something powerful, a reason to fight together. And now, humans had a way to fight back. 1 month after discovering the aliens' weakness, the bunker was like a busy factory. Lisa and Amy had turned the old cafeteria into a workshop where people built new weapons day and night. Another success from the Seattle group, Amy said, looking at her computer. She had connected with other resistance bases across the world using old radio equipment and hidden internet cables. They took down 2 alien ships yesterday using our weapon designs. David watched the workers, regular people, teachers, shop owners, students were building complex weapons that could fight alien technology. They called it Project Phoenix because it rose from the ashes of their defeat. Lisa, come quick. A young worker called from one of the testing areas. Something's wrong with batch number 12. Lisa ran to check. The new weapon was shaking and glowing strangely. Everyone back, she shouted. The weapon exploded, but instead of destroying things, it created a bubble where nothing electrical worked. That wasn't supposed to happen, Lisa said, walking carefully into the bubble. But this could be useful. Amy, are you recording this? Already on it, Amy replied. An area where alien tech can't work at all. That's better than just taking down their shields. David gathered everyone for a meeting. The main room was crowded with people from all teams, weapons builders, fighters, scouts, and support staff. We have good news and bad news, he started. The good news is that resistance groups around the world are successfully fighting back. The aliens have lost 23 ships in the past week. Everyone cheered, but David raised his hand for quiet. The bad news is that the aliens are speeding up their plans to change Earth. They know we're hurting them now, so they're working faster. Lisa stepped forward with her latest report. The chemicals they're putting into the ground are spreading. In some areas, the air is already getting hard to breathe. We have less time than we thought. How long? Someone asked. 3 months, maybe 4, Lisa answered. After that, Earth starts becoming more like their world than ours. The room was quiet. Then John spoke up from the back. So we hit them harder, fast and strong, before they can finish their plan. Amy showed pictures on the big screen. We've found their main control center. It's in what used to be Chicago. They've built some kind of tower that controls all their terraforming equipment. If we can destroy that tower, Lisa said, we might be able to stop the changes to Earth. But it's their most protected site. They have hundreds of ships guarding it. David looked at the pictures. The alien tower was huge, reaching up into the clouds. Around it, the ground had already changed, turning a sickly purple color. We can't attack it directly, he said. But maybe we don't have to. He turned to Amy. Can you use their own network against them? Amy smiled. I've been working on something. A virus that spreads through their communications. It would shut down their systems, but I need to get close to upload it. And I've improved the weapons, Lisa added. The new ones don't just disable their shields. They can overload their power systems completely. But we'd need to hit multiple targets at exactly the same time. David walked to the map on the wall. Then we make one big plan. Every resistance group, all around the world, attacks at once. While they're distracted, a small team goes for the tower. That's crazy, John said. Then he grinned. I like it. They spent the next week planning. Amy contacted every resistance group they knew. Lisa made sure everyone had the latest weapons. John trained special teams for the tower mission. The night before the attack, David found Lisa working late in her lab. What if it's not enough? She asked without looking up. What if we fail? David picked up one of the new weapons. It was amazing how far they had come from Lisa's first design. 6 months ago, we were hiding and running. Now we're fighting back. Even if we fail tomorrow, we've proved that humans don't give up. Lisa finally smiled. The aliens still don't understand us, do they? They think they can break our spirit. That's their biggest mistake, David said. They can destroy our cities, change our planet, but they can't change who we are. Every human who fights tomorrow knows we might die. But we fight anyway, because that's what humans do. Outside the bunker, the sky had turned strange colors from the aliens' chemicals. But underground, humanity was preparing its biggest attack yet. Project Phoenix was ready. Tomorrow would decide if Earth stayed human or became alien forever. The attack began at sunrise. All across the world, resistance groups hit alien bases at the same time. David watched on Amy's screens as hundreds of alien ships lost power and fell from the sky. London base reporting success, Amy called out. Sydney too. Moscow just took down their whole alien command center. In the bunker's garage, John was getting his team ready. They had 3 trucks, loaded with the best weapons Lisa had made. Their job was the hardest. Get Amy close enough to the Chicago tower to upload her virus. Remember, Lisa told them, checking their weapons one last time. The new bombs create dead zones for alien tech. Use them to make a path to the tower. David looked at the strike team. 20 of their best fighters, including John and Amy. This is our only chance, he said. The aliens will figure out how to block our weapons soon. We have to finish this today. The radio crackled with reports from around the world. Resistance groups were winning battles everywhere. The aliens had never faced an attack this big. They couldn't defend everything at once. It's time, David said. The strike team got into their trucks. Lisa hugged Amy goodbye. Don't forget, Lisa said, the virus has to upload directly into their main system. Get as close as you can. The trucks left the bunker, driving fast toward Chicago. David and Lisa watched their progress on the screens. Above them, the sky was full of falling alien ships. Multiple alien distress calls detected. Amy reported over the radio. They're completely confused. They don't know where to send help first. As they got closer to Chicago, they saw the alien tower. It was even bigger up close, reaching into the clouds. The ground around it was covered in strange purple plants, the beginning of the aliens' changes to Earth. First barrier ahead, John reported. His truck was in the lead, launching dead zone bomb. The bomb created a bubble where no alien technology worked. The tower's shields flickered out in that area. John's team drove through the gap. But the aliens weren't beaten yet. Giant walking machines came out of the tower. They walked through the dead zone, shooting at the trucks with regular guns instead of energy weapons. They're learning, Amy shouted. They're adapting to our tricks. Keep going, David ordered. Get Amy to that tower. The battle was fierce. 2 of the trucks were hit, but John's team jumped out and kept fighting on foot. They used the dead zone bombs to create safe paths through the alien defenses. We're at the base of the tower, John reported. Amy's starting the upload. On the screens, David and Lisa could see Amy connecting her computer to the tower's systems. But more alien machines were coming. Upload at 20%. Amy said. 30%. Something's wrong. They're fighting back. The aliens had released some kind of computer virus of their own. Amy's screens filled with strange symbols. They're trying to stop the upload, Amy said. But they made another mistake. They linked all their systems together to fight my virus. Now I can. She typed faster than ever. Suddenly, all her screens went dark. The alien tower's lights flickered. Amy? David called. Report. For a long moment, there was silence. Then Amy's voice came back, laughing. Their own network turned against them. When they connected everything to fight my virus, they let me into every system they have. All over the world, alien machines stopped working. Their ships lost power. Their walking machines fell over. The tower's purple glow faded. The terraforming systems are shutting down, Lisa said, checking her instruments. The chemical changes are stopping. The strike team cheered. Around the world, resistance groups reported the same thing. Every piece of alien technology was dead. In the tower's control room, Amy found their main communication system. She sent a message that played on every alien device on Earth. You tried to break us. You tried to change our world. But humans don't break. We get stronger. This is our planet. Leave, or we will destroy every ship you have left. David watched on the screens as the remaining alien ships started to lift off. They were running away. We did it, Lisa whispered. We actually did it. The sun was setting on the first day of Earth's freedom. Humanity had faced its greatest test, and won. But the victory had come with a cost, and there was still much work to do. The aliens are gone, David said. Now comes the hard part. We have to rebuild our world. 1 year after the aliens left Earth, David stood on top of the rebuilt UN building in New York. The city wasn't the same as before, but in many ways, it was stronger. The scars of war were everywhere, but so were the signs of recovery. Ready for your speech? Lisa asked, walking up beside him. She looked different now, more confident, like someone who knew her place in history. The weapon she had created was now displayed in the World War Museum, along with Amy's computer that had saved Earth. I'm not good at speeches, David said, straightening his new uniform. As head of Earth's defense force, he had to speak at today's ceremony. It was 1 year since the victory, and people from all over the world had come to celebrate. Look there, Lisa pointed. In the harbor, workers were taking apart an alien ship that had crashed during the battle. We're learning so much from their technology. But we're being careful this time. No rushing into things we don't understand. The ceremony was held in the new Unity Square, built where the aliens' main tower had once stood. Thousands of people gathered to remember their victory. Annie sat in the front row, now leading Earth's new technology defense program. John stood with his security team, watching the sky out of habit. David walked to the speaker's stand. He looked at the crowd, people from every country, all wearing the same Earth defense uniform. The aliens had tried to divide humanity. Instead, they had united it. 1 year ago, David began. We faced the end of our world. The aliens thought they knew everything about us. They thought they were stronger because they had better weapons. They thought we would give up when things got hard. He paused, looking at the faces in the crowd. Some were crying, remembering those who died in the war. Others smiled with pride. But they didn't understand what makes humans special. When they destroyed our cities, we built underground bases. When they took our technology, we made better weapons. When they tried to change our planet, we changed their plans instead. Lisa stepped forward with a small box. Inside was a piece of alien metal that glowed softly. Their ships left traces in space, she explained to the crowd. With this new detector, we can see them coming from light years away. Earth will never be surprised again. Amy stood up next. We've also built a shield around Earth, she said, using their own technology against them. No alien ship can enter our space without permission now. David continued his speech. But our greatest victory wasn't beating the aliens. It was finding our strength as one people. Before the war, we were divided into countries that often fought each other. Now, we are Earth. Just Earth. He pointed to the new buildings rising in the city. We're rebuilding everything better than before. Our cities are stronger. Our technology is smarter. Our people are united. But most importantly, we remember. On cue, the big screens around the square lit up. They showed pictures from the war, people helping each other, fighting together, rebuilding together. We remember that humans are strongest when things seem hopeless. We remember that our real power isn't in weapons or technology. It's in our spirit, our will to survive, our ability to stand together against any enemy. John stepped forward with news from the defense system. We've found more alien signals in deep space, he said. They're out there, watching us. But now we're watching them too. And we're ready. David finished his speech. 1 year ago, we thought hope was lost. But we were wrong. Hope doesn't die easily in human hearts. And when our hope turned to vengeance, we showed the galaxy what humans can do. The crowd cheered. Above them, Earth's new defense satellites glowed softly in the evening sky. They were humanity's guardians now, always watching for danger. Later that night, David met with his old team. Lisa, Amy, and John sat in his office, sharing memories of the war. Do you think they'll come back? Amy asked. David looked out at the city lights. Maybe. But next time will be different. We're not the same people they attacked before. We're stronger now. Ready. Lisa raised her glass in a toast. To humanity, she said, may we always remember, when hope seems lost, our strength burns brightest. The others joined the toast. Outside, the rebuilt city glowed with life. Earth had changed. Humanity had changed. But they had changed on their own terms, not the aliens. And if anyone else tried to conquer Earth, they would learn the same lesson. Never underestimate humans, especially when all hope seems lost.